This video was not sponsored by the finals. Some people saying nice things about products for free, it makes me sick to my stomach. How about you, June?
Scotty, I just swallowed a bee. Does my voice still sound okay for the match tonight?
June, you sound fine. I mean, you do sound a little raspy. Tell you what, let's grab an spoos while this dum-dum gives us some free promotion.
Sounds like a plan.
Life giver.
Targeting system is designed.
So on this channel, I complain about multiplayer games a little bit. In fact, my first ever video was in part dedicated to talking about modern day multiplayer games. But there comes a time when a man wants peace, not war. And I think the constant online discord of what multiplayer games are the best and the worst and dying and dominating gets pretty tiring after a while.
I don't give a fuck.
It's like no matter what multiplayer game comes out these days, every single one comes out with the pre-order bonus of having a small sect of people that fucking hate the game and hate your guts for liking it. So anyway, that's all to say that I've kind of fallen off the hype train of the next biggest thing, and I've recently gotten back into a game which, despite all those articles saying it's dead, it's over, it's a failure, is still surprisingly alive and well, and one of the best multiplayer games I have played in the last 5 years. This game is, of course, the finals, and today I'm going to be telling you why this is a game you should jump on and stick with, because just by watching this video, you might find your new favorite multiplayer game. Now to start off, let's lay the groundwork. What is the finals? Well, it takes place in the distant future of the 2100s, and technology has advanced to the point where almost everyone spends all of their time in virtual reality. In fact, the virtual world is so popular that the real world has been nicknamed Meat Space. And it's generally considered to be a lot less interesting than VR, because, well, in VR you can do anything, be anyone. And of course, the digital world is home to the finals, the greatest game show on Earth. And this is where the game picks up. We take control of contestants playing the finals in pursuit of money, fame, and glory. And that's the premise. It's a game show that takes place in a virtual world where anything can happen, and I love it. Now, just to tell you my side of the story, I picked up the finals when it first came out because I was tired of the multiplayer games I was into at that time. You know, Valorant and Overwatch 2. These games made my blood boil, but they were also what everybody else was playing. So, you know, I was playing it too, like a good sheep. But once I got into the finals, had my first few games, I instantly messaged most of my friends and was just like, dude, you gotta get on this thing with me, man. Because get this, the game was fun. It was fun through and through. Fun was its middle name. And today I'm gonna be breaking down every single element that I love about the finals, and hopefully by the end of the video, you will be at least a little bit interested in giving it a go yourself. So to get started, let's talk about the game itself. In the finals, you'll most often be playing Quick Cash, a 3v3v3 game mode in which you sprint around a huge map trying to make some money. And you do this by finding and unlocking vaults, something that takes 30 seconds. Once the money is released though, you sprint to one of the available cash outs and then you prepare for the onslaught. See, you've just started a cash out. Great work! But you are not done. Have you ever played Left 4 Dead 2's survival mode? That's what's about to happen here. Because at any point during the cash out, another team can bust their way in and steal your cash out. All it takes is 6 seconds of not watching this thing and you could lose everything. And this is where the gameplay of the finals really kicks in. See, this isn't just some reskinned control point game mode, and you're not just playing as random gunmen. You're playing as one class out of 3 others, and each of these guys change the game big time. So to get started, this game has its players choose between light, medium, and heavy. And what's great about them is that playing as each one is pretty much like playing a completely different game. They all have their own special abilities, weapons, and tools. So starting with lights, they're quick, quick, agile, have low health, and they're also 5'11". And these guys are super fun to play as. Their base special ability is a grapple hook that has some crazy range. This thing will send you flying like you're in Batman Arkham Knight. It actually feels awesome just traversing with such ease. But there is a darker side to this class. Because when you start playing light, you are entering another plane of existence. A world where other fights are happening in slow motion and you are on your own against crackheads and Adderall maxes. Yeah, so I'm not gonna lie, just like any other game, the finals has its fair share of sweats and tryhards, and they all just happen to play light. So the class is a little bit inaccessible for new players because you have the same amount of health as an overloaded camel that's about to take one straw too many. But overall, light is fun. Once you get used to the speed, you can really bamboozle some players. You can be a grapple hook sniper that zips around and is always just out of sight, or you can be an annoying little mosquito and boost around stabbing people. Light is really more about using your brain than using your tools to get the job done, which is pretty much the exact opposite for the medium. This class is your average Call of Duty gunman playstyle, and it's actually really fun to play. Like, you would kind of assume that this would be the most boring class, and in some ways, it kind of is, but the finals does have its own unique take on what is usually a very default playstyle. See, medium has access to a lot of buffer tools, you know, abilities that somewhat nullify the kind of shit the other two classes can pull. On a base level, a medium can fill a kind of medic slash support role with the minigun, or a more defensive damage dealing role with the sentry gun. But the magic really happens when you start shooting this beautiful default weapon called the AKM. Okay, now this is going to be a little bit random, right? But in Batman Arkham Origins, there's this part where Batman's on a roof with a bunch of goons and the GCPD show up in some helicopters. Joker then starts shooting at them and all the other goons are like, yeah, let's get him! And I don't know what this scene did to a 14-year-old me's brain. In multiplayer FPS games, I just love shooting off some rounds aimlessly. You know, like these goons. You really think you're gonna take down a chopper with that, bro? But the finals is one of the most satisfying spray and pray experiences I've ever played because there's no ammo limit. You can just keep shooting and reloading and shooting and reloading and shooting. It's so satisfying. Oh, and that kill noise, man. Damn! But yeah, the medium is a really fun class to play because you're the glue that holds the team together. You know, you make up for the things your teammates lack in. Like, you can bring a zip line to get around easier or jump pad. By the way, there's no fall damage in this game. Isn't that wicked? And if your teammates end up losing a fight, you can get them back with a defib, which, by the way, gets you mad clout. Like, if you heal a random or revive him once, he's your best friend. He will die for you. He will res you every single time you die. All up, the medium is your middle of the road kind of guy, and if you're more into planning and strategy than mindless violence, then this class is for you, because it's your job to keep an eye on things for your team. How's each person going in their fight? Who needs support? Where should I put my sentry? The heavy, on the other hand, ain't about that at all. See, last but not least, we have the heavy, and I've, in my opinion, saved the best for last, because when you play this character, people are scared of you. And why is this? Well, the heavy has access to an armory of stupid weapons. He can hit you with a flamethrower, or a machine gun, or a rocket launcher, or a minigun. You know, when a heavy enters the room, everyone knows about it. This is because bro has got aura. He's got enough health to tank an entire ammo clip, enough weapons to blow your whole team away, and you're never safe from him because bro doesn't enter the room using doors. Nah, the heavy's default ability is possibly one of my favorite multiplayer game abilities ever.
Head to Vault 1! Our contestants.
Yeah, he can run through walls. How cool is that? You know, I'm starting to realize that I like the finals because it reminds me of a lot of my favorite media. But when I was a kid, I watched The Incredibles a lot. And you know that scene where Mr. Incredible and Frozone are in the burning building and Mr. Incredible goes, I'm gonna run through a wall. Well, that's kind of the vibe of the heavy. It's a class that just acts as a human wrecking ball, and it's just hilarious seeing players see you and just go like, nah, and run away. But honestly, I can't really talk about what makes the heavy great without talking about another thing that makes the finals great. And that thing is, the game rewards you for your creativity. Like, there are a lot of variables that go into a match. Around the map, you can find these canisters filled with poison gas or flammable liquid or goo, and you can get pretty creative with these. Like, back when the game game first came out, there was a strategy called the heavy nuke. And to all you veteran players watching, I know you just felt a chill run down your spine. But the heavy nuke was where you would get a flammable container or propane tank and load it up with all the mines you could, as well as 2 C4s. You'd then carry it around until you found someone and sent it their way, detonating the C4 just as it got close. And for perspective, we're talking 5 explosives going off in your face at once. During Season 1, this strat could wipe out whole teams.
A new vault just appeared. Let's see who grabs that cash.
Now these days the heavy nuke has been patched out, but creativity is still what gets you wins. For example, run away from an enemy and create a zip line across a gap, then destroy it as your enemy is halfway across. Or how about using the medium's glitch gadget to hide outside the cash out room, making it look relatively abandoned, and then as soon as some poor soul tries to steal your money, jump him. And when we're talking about creativity, we're not even talking exclusively on using your abilities in unique ways, because your character isn't your only tool. The world around you is as much of one too. And yes, I am leading into talking about one of the game's greatest features, its insane world destruction. Now we all remember how crazy it was when Battlefield began having entire skyscrapers toppling over in their matches. You know, who could forget when Rainbow Six Siege came out and gave players entire buildings to methodically tear apart? Those were cool, but the destruction in the finals is just out of this world. So to talk destruction, each class has at least one weapon that can destroy the level. Heavies have their sledgehammer and can run through walls. Mediums have the grenade, I guess, and lights have the breach charge. Either way, the arena isn't exactly a map you learn because it never stays the same way for long. And going back to talking about getting creative with things, sometimes the best strategy is to level the building. You know, if your opponents have a place locked down, bring the place down. So finally, after we've talked about all these classes and mechanics, just think about what happens when 3 teams go head to head. Every objective point becomes the nexus of chaos, explosions, gunfire, and all the while you can hear the crowd going crazy. I also think that the feeling of being in a gunfight when all of a sudden the building starts coming down is just incredible. You've got to navigate this ever-changing environment while still trying to win the fight you're in. But the arena doesn't stop being chaotic when the players aren't destroying it, because sometimes a random event will get triggered which shakes up everything. Sometimes it's a meteor shower, other times it's mega damage, or even an alien invasion. No matter what happens, the only thing that is for certain is uncertainty, and I just love the chaos it brings. You know, you can start a cash out, but you have no idea if the building that you're trying to defend is even going to be there in 5 minutes, or if the cash out is going to be in the same place in 5 minutes. Which leads me to talk about reason number 4 I love this game, and that's that it will make you feel good about yourself. You know, there's a lot of games out there that when you die, they will legitimately get you down. You'll begin falling into self-doubt, asking yourself questions like, why didn't I aim better? Am I not playing properly? I'm letting my team down. In the finals, this is not a problem. Yes, there are people who take this game very seriously and will let you know if you're not performing to their standards. But for me personally, this game is so chaotic and fast that when I die, I'm either laughing because the way it happened was ridiculous, or I'm just downright impressed how my opponent managed to kill me. For me, death in the finals doesn't feel like a bad thing because the entire game is just that fun, and losing doesn't feel like a huge thing either. I think that something that helps the finals distance itself from other modern multiplayer shooters is that, once again, victory is not dependent on how good you are at shooting, it's dependent on how well you can adjust to a changing battleground, on how quickly you can cook up a plan to throw the other team through a loop, or in a lot of cases, how eagle-eyed you are in spotting opportunities to make a steal. Like in Quick Cash, I couldn't name the amount of times I've lost games from cash outs being stolen at the last millisecond, but I also couldn't name the amount of times I've won a game because I stole a cash out at the last second. It's not a game that's about being the highest on the leaderboard, it's a game about being smart and thinking outside the cash box. Hello everybody, if you are enjoying the video at the moment, please leave a like, subscribe, comment, share. Every single thing you do to interact with this channel helps it out. It helps me get exposure so more people can come to the channel. It helps me get money so that I can do this more often than not. And it also helps me fund awesome giveaways like today's one. At the time of recording, I don't really know what I'm giving away today, but if you did win it, I really hope you enjoy it. Anyway, back to the video. So now that I've explained why I think the gameplay is so damn good, we're gonna move to talking about stuff surrounding the game, starting with something that is gonna be a little bit controversial, but let's talk microtransactions. So the finals is completely free to play. You could play it for 5 years straight without spending a cent, and you'd have had the same gameplay experience as anyone else. But as any free to play game has, the finals is chock full of things you can buy with your real life hard-earned moolah. And as you can probably tell, I myself has spent a little bit on the game. The thing that I find strange about the finals is that this is probably one of the first FPS games next to TF2 that I don't feel guilty about buying cosmetics in. In other games like Call of Duty, I feel like I'm being sold to. You know, you're playing a super serious military shooter, but there's a Zaza gun in the store. But you know what? I'm sold. I want the Zaza gun, but I don't feel good about buying it. You know, the thing is that these skins don't fit the theme of the game. I feel like it is a product that is designed to win me over so that I buy it. And I'm not gonna act like EMBARK Studios is some beacon of morality. Them selling cosmetics is no different from what Activision does with COD. But you know what? EMBARK Studios gives a shit. Something that struck me from day one is that on the side of the main menu, they would scroll through all the available items in the store, and each one would have a dedicated animation for it. To me, it seems that whoever's in charge of making these cosmetics and microtransactions actually cares. Like, just to list off a couple of my favorite items I've got, I love my Super Soaker flamethrower. I love my Big Spoon sledgehammer. The finals puts out quality cosmetics that are actually worth your dollars. You know, these skins change weapon noises, animations, and of course, the look of the guns. Also, speaking of animations, if you don't like the anims on your guns, you can always get some new ones. And I know this can sound like the game is trying to sell stuff at every corner, but to me, I think it indicates some care. This is a far cry from the kind of stuff Overwatch 2 was pulling back in the day. To me, it feels like EMBARK thinks about what people would want, and they actually make it, and they make it well. I think the game cosmetics are of the quality that we honestly haven't seen in a game before. Maybe except for some of the crazy skins you can get in Valorant, but those skins cost like $100 each. It's crazy. Also, EMBARK Studios, if you're watching this, please make a Tommy gun skin for the AKM. Please. I will do anything. EMBARK Studios, give me the AKM Tommy gun skin and my life is yours. Please, please, please. Next up, another reason I love this game is the music. Holy shit. Like, before I played the finals, I thought I knew multiplayer games with good soundtracks, but nah, man, not on this level. Every single season, the finals puts out a new soundtrack full of these electronic-y, synth-wavy beats, and they play all the way from the point you enter the game right up until when you enter a match. You'll just be bobbing your head as you're waiting for a match. The music is so good. I actually think it makes the waiting times feel a little less lengthy, because you're not thinking, damn, man, this is taking forever. You're thinking, what is this soundtrack? I need to add it to my Spotify liked playlist. By the way, if there's anyone out there that thinks like EMBARK Studios is slipping me money under the table for this video or anything, I am such a big fan of this game that I started using the finals music for my streams like last year.
This has been a B4 Brandoss stream, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time! Woo!
I fucking love this game. It is a vibe. But you know what else is a vibe? The characters in this game. Now, when the finals came out, there was a lot of controversy because the two commentators in the game, Scotty and June, were completely AI. Apparently, there were voice actors that were paid for their voices being used as a base for the AI, but we don't know much else. And look, guys, I don't want this video to become some sort of debate for saying yay or nay to AI. As far as I know, Steam has a policy against allowing AI voices if they were not obtained legally. So I don't think the AI usage in this game is unethical. I don't know. And besides that, you begin to forget the commentators are even AI after a while. The way Scotty and June just go back and forth, bantering and commentating on what your team is doing and announcing when big plays are made has been enough to win me over. Scotty and June are fantastic, hilarious characters that just bring a little bit extra into the game.
Welcome to Quick Cash. Our contestants will need to gather the cash faster than the rest. If they hit the goal first, they can bask in glory.
That's right, Scotty. This is going to be a nail-biter.
Here's a zip line. As we pass the halfway point of the match, you could cut the tension with a knife, or an assassin's dagger, or a cheese slicer. And just like that, a cash box changes hands, and it's snagged by the Vogues. The socialites will need to reboot. Team wiped.
Time to trade those party shoes for combat boots.
Whoa, June, are we starting a comedy duo? Because I'm feeling it. The ultra rares are wasting no time. Cash out underway. The jet setters land the first cash out.
Life in the fast lane, Scotty. What a ride.
Like, I think it even might be one of the things that keeps me coming back. Just the momentum and energy they bring to each match. You know, you feel really good when you get a kill streak and then Scotty's just in the background going, June, that was crazy. I'm having a heart attack right now. But they aren't the only characters in the game. You can't forget about our contestants, who are just a bunch of goofballs, man. I just love that this game never gets too serious, because no matter how intense a situation gets, all the characters involved are saying some stupid shit. Like when you throw a flashbang, sometimes your character will say,
Flashy, flashy.
or they throw down a mine and they say,
Mind the mine.
I just love them. I love them so much, man. But do you know what else I love? The lore, or the lack of it. Because something that annoys me about these season by season games that try to tell an overarching story is that the players are usually not very involved. I'll use Apex Legends as an example. That game also takes place inside of a game show, except without going into too much detail, there is just way too much lore. Every character is personally attached to the games. There's a lot of shadowy stuff happening behind the scenes too, and every season they try to up the stakes by having the legends fight big monsters or hordes of revenants. But you know what I want to know? What the fuck does this have to do with a game show? It's this weird separation between the gameplay loop and the story that really bugs me. Like, there is no drama. There was this point in one of the seasons where it was hinted that Bangalore was gonna leave the Apex games, but who gives a shit? They're not gonna remove a character from the game to serve the lore. So as you can see, this is just one of those nothing ever happens situations. But games like Apex want you to feel like stuff is happening. So they build up these stories that will change the game, but it never really will, and it never really does. In the finals, there is some shady stuff happening behind the game show itself. Like, there's a hacktivist group called CNS that breaks into the simulation every now and again. There's several mega corporations in the world that are clearly up to no good. You know, it's not all sunshine and cash outs, but yet in 5 seasons, we have barely gotten any sort of story besides the simulation resetting a few times. And you know what? That is a-okay with me. I don't want there to be some sort of big story that plays out during the finals lifetime. The finals is a game show where people compete for money, glory, and fame. That's good enough for me. I don't need some ominous big story going on in the background, because even if there was just, say, a shadowy mega corporation that's trying to do some evil, what am I gonna do about it? I'm a contestant in the finals. The only way I have access to this world is by playing in this game show. So I like that the game sticks to its guns and focuses on evolving the only story that actually affects our players. And that story is, who's the sponsorship of the next season gonna be? Ooh, the drama, I know, right? Another great thing about this game is that it is awesome, but there's room for improvement. You know, if Scotty and June are AI, could they one day be able to point us out by name? You know, say something like, Fantastic Steal by B4 Brandoss. And yes, I know that could be easily exploited by the player base, but that sounds like an EMBARK Studios problem. Or what about a play of the game feature? This game is all about being flashy and in the limelight. It's prime material for a POTG system. Really, there's a lot of small things that can be added to improve the experience of the finals. And to be honest, I do believe that EMBARK will eventually get round to implementing all of them. Because as I've been saying all video, EMBARK Studios actually gives a shit. You know, they listen to their fans. People have been asking for a minigun forever. Guess what they just added? Or what about the recent limited time team deathmatch mode? It was fun as fuck and people loved it so much that the devs were just like, okay, let's add it forever. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call a class act dev team, all right? I feel like I'm in therapy after being an Overwatch 2 fan for so long. Finally, the last reason to give the finals a go is the non-toxic community. Yes, there are outliers. I'm not saying I've never been called a on this game, but generally players are cooperative, enthusiastic, and you know something crazy? When you help them out, they actually say thank you. I don't think I've had a social gaming experience like this since TF2. It's just really refreshing. I feel like the community digs the vibe of the finals, and a lot of people interact with one another in a way that's very in line with the theme of the game, which is of course having fun and wreaking havoc. Now to finish up, this video hasn't covered everything about the finals, and I'm not really trying to. There are several different game modes I haven't covered, many cool weapons and maps I haven't talked about, but that's okay. With this video, I just wanted to tell you guys what makes me love the game and possibly inspire you to give it a go yourself. And if you do, you'll end up discovering the vast amounts of awesomeness I wasn't able to fit into this video. Really, I just wanted to let people know that this thing is still out there. It had a huge boom when it released, but over time, people have slowly flaked off of it, which is kind of sad, because I think the finals is worthy of being as popular as something like Call of Duty or Counter-Strike, because it's made with love, competency, and creativity. And while I've already sunk about 140 hours into this game, I keep finding new ways to win, new strategies to use which catch my opponents off guard. It's a game that puts you in a sandbox with the tools to do some heavy renovations, and it says, have fun. And I think if more multiplayer games were made with the idea that fun is the most important element, I probably wouldn't be begging you to give this game a go, because every game would be like the finals. So yeah, thanks for watching. At the time of recording, Season 6 has just dropped, which means I can finally complete my TF2 heavy loadout, and honestly, I'm more on board with the finals than I've ever been. So I'm hoping I'll see you in the game sometime, and if I have inspired you to give this game a shot, let me know what you thought about it in the comments. And if you really like this game and want to join my crew, just search up B4 in the clubs tab and ask to join Big B4 Cash Outs. It's home to some of the toughest sons of in the finals, so knowing my viewer base, I should look forward to seeing you guys there. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'll either be seeing you in the finals or in a future video. Either way, see you later.
Wrong. If you call
You know, June, that video was actually pretty well thought out. Even I want to play the finals now, and I'm in it.
Same here, Scotty.
All right, June, I'm finding your voice real disturbing right now, so I'm gonna go check out the Spoos vending machine. You, stay here and make sure the game doesn't start without me.
But the game doesn't start for another 5 hours, Scotty. Oh, he's gone. What's wrong with my voice anyway?
In an event that may or may not have had something to do with the Heavy. Heavy and his family then fled to the mountains, and in order to provide for him, Heavy became a mercenary. A little fun fact, Heavy is often portrayed as kind of stupid in Meet the Team shorts and in the game, but in the comics, he's shown to be extremely smart and has a PhD in Russian literature. The engineer or Dell